So I know what you're probably wondering. Hey, James, how does it feel to be back in the car after a year, 2 years being sidelined because of COVID? How does it feel to be back in the car now that gas prices are brutal, debilitating, awful? The answer is, well, it feels great to be back in the car. It feels great to be sharing one-on-one conversations, one-on-more conversations with people who I think are interesting, and I hope you think are interesting as well. But when it comes to just lighting money on fire for the sake of power, that brings me to my pal, Brent Sopel. I've got a guy. You can have a guy. You can have that guy. Brent Sopel, former Chicago Blackhawk, NHL player, Stanley Cup winner, Brent Sopel. He is your guy who's going to help you switch to solar. Imagine locking in your power rates now, so you always know what that fixed cost is going to be month after month, year after year. That's the opportunity with solar, and nothing comes out of your pocket. It's free to get the consultation, and with the tax credits from federal and state, you could save up to 48%, which is significant, and that won't last forever. At some point, those credits are going to go away. I would jump on this now. I mean, it costs you nothing to investigate solar. Let my guy, Brent Sopel, be your guy. SopelSolar.com. Go green, switch to solar, and save yourself a stinkload of money in the process.
Fuck.
So I feel aged and inspired tonight. You probably know Mark Rose from his days in Spitalfield or as a solo artist. These days, he's empowering musicians to create new music and make respectable money doing it, while also giving consumers something truly special and awesome. Mark Rose, to my right, if you're watching on camera or watching on YouTube or Facebook. In the back seat, it is Kyle. He is the beard of Beard and Belly at 6157 North Broadway. Awesome restaurant right by Granville and Broadway. The Belly couldn't join us. We're just with... Who wins in a fight, Beard or Belly?
I mean, I'm bigger, but he's larger. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, he's better with knives than I am. So he's the chef. I'm the pretty face.
You're front of house.
Yeah, a little bit. We got another guy too, Andrew, who's involved with the company as well.
I got to ask you, since this is timely, I didn't even think about asking this. The Bear on Hulu. Have you watched it yet?
No, but I can't wait for you to ask me a question about it.
I really wanted to ask Kyle.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, everyone I know who's in the restaurant industry, who's done anything in the service industry, stresses out watching this show. Like, it's said to be super accurate.
I haven't because of that. Like, I deal with it all day, so I'm like working up the courage to watch it. It sounds more intense than regular restaurant situations, but you know, it's one of those where you get home and do you want to watch about what you've been doing all day. It's interesting.
And related, and for context for the listeners and viewers, Kyle and I worked at a hot dog place together in high school. So the Bear is gonna I don't know, it's gonna make some nostalgic feelings happen, I think, when we watch it.
What was the hot dog place you worked at?
It was out in the suburbs at Yorktown Mall. It was Chicago Hot Dog.
That's one of my favorite jobs.
That's fantastic.
It's a great place, yeah.
So, and you just said it, Mark, you guys have known each other for forever.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is a lesson. Stay in touch with the people who you were friends with in high school. No one knows you better. No one knows your failings, your successes, like the people who you came up with.
Well, that's the damn truth. And Kyle and I, not only we worked at a hot dog place together in high school, but that inspired us to have our own Bratfest at the end of, like, the last day of finals each year from sophomore, junior, and senior year, where we invited everyone from the school to come to my parents' backyard. We had live bands on, the backyard patio, and we had like a tent set up for James Bond N64 tournaments. We had water balloon stuff going, and brought Grillmaster Kyle back there was serving up bratwurst for $1. So, it was a donation technically. We did not have a license. So it was a donation, and Bratfest, it was a thing, and we want to bring it back.
You know how there are some people in high school, you just know what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives. So if I'm hearing you correctly, there was live music, live bands performing, there was food being served. Who'd have thought you'd be who you guys are at this stage of the game?
Yeah, that's funny. I hadn't really put that whole thing together, but yeah, you're right. We got Kyle doing Beard and Belly, and actually in 2001, Spitalfield did perform at Bratfest in my parents' backyard. So there you go.
There it is. All right. Kyle brought food. It smells amazing, and far be it for us to ignore hot, delicious food. Again, Beard and Belly is at 6157 North Broadway. Kyle has been kind enough, hospitable enough. Actually, he's working. Like, this dude's been like running deliveries. He's been working all the front of house stuff. So we're lucky to have him in the back seat right now.
Oh yeah, he could hop out and hop on that scooter any moment.
It's true. All right, so Kyle, Mark and I were talking about this earlier. and we were talking about, well, do we order off the menu? And my thought was, like, no one knows the menu better than you do, so you tell us what we should eat.
So I got a couple things here. We're going to start you off with our spicy pickled eggs, which is our take on deviled eggs without all the work. They're pickled. They have a little bit of our house-made remoulade, and then bacon and salt, pepper, and a little bit of our herb mixture. Then moving on to the next thing is our poutine, which is one of the things we're known for. It's a short rib poutine. So French fries, short rib, cheese curds, gravy, and then we put a cheese sauce on top of that. It's very thick, very rich. I put one of our burgers in there, so like our classic burger. It's the half pint. It's our everyday burger. It's great. We use a house blend of meat, and it's fantastic. And then I have our Reuben, which we smoke in house, and put all that together. So there's a good assortment of food. And then after that, we have our pie, which comes from Honey Pie, which is right next door. We teamed up with them. They're a bakery out of Milwaukee, run by Valerie Lux, and she is part of this whole deal too. And we do pies and cookies and treats and stuff like that. So we got the whole deal for you guys.
Valerie Lux me.
and James, I'll tell you what I had them do was cut the pint burger and the Reuben in half so that you can have, you can sample them both, because I really want you to try both.
Now, Kyle, to me, the Reuben is number one in sandwich power rankings. I think it's the perfect sandwich.
Oh, I mean, it is, and like ours, we step it up. So it's a pastrami Reuben. So because pastrami's like. It's better than corned beef, that's for sure. And then we do our spicy remoulade on there as well, nice marble rye, and then kraut. And
so you do the remoulade instead of a Thousand Island?
Yeah, and the remoulade is like such a magical sauce that it just brings everything. It steps it up to just like a whole nother level of sandwich. You can put it on anything, and it's fantastic. But on the Reuben, it really stands out.
Now, I want you to know everything you brought into the car is exactly what I would have said we should order.
Good, yeah, those
and we must be on the same wavelength.
100%. Like the eggs, I saw them on the menu. I'm like, oh, I wonder if we could bring those in the car. Yes.
They travel well. They're delicious. They're very polarizing for people, but I think you guys will enjoy them because you have good palates. So
yeah, or you can just take the second one to go with you, because I won't be having an egg, and that's not a shot at you, Kyle. I just don't do the egg thing. So there's that.
Well,
we can talk about that if you want.
Everybody has their faults.
All right, let's start eating. So, Kyle, are you eating with us, or are you just going to watch?
I'm not eating. I'm just going to watch you eat, because that's I get off on that.
Kyle likes to watch.
I'll shove that forward. I brought some fancy silverware.
So the poutine's on top. Oh, here are the eggs.
There you go. All right,
I'm going to have to camera everything here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you carry a cooler with you, but you could put the second one to go.
So
you can have it later.
Not a long trip home.
They hold well. They're pickled and brined, and
look at that.
So we pickle them for 3 days, and then we let them soak in Frank's Red Hot after that, and then they just sit in Frank's until they're ready to go.
All right, you do not want this.
That's correct.
Okay.
There's a fork in there for you.
Yes, there is. Okay, so I'm going to try this as everyone watches. It smells amazing. I got to move this microphone out of my face.
So we actually started in the Long Room, which is down on Irving Park in Ashland, and that was sort of a little homage to the eggs in the jar that would normally be at a bar like that, and we just like that idea, and they're a lot of fun, and we make a lot of them.
I love the remoulade.
And they were
a hit.
hit.
The Franks at the end.
Yeah.
They were a hit at my wedding, because while they were transitioning out of Long Room and into this establishment here, this beautiful establishment that they operate now, I got married in the middle of all that, and I had Beard and Belly cater my wedding, and those eggs
wedding
were
ever.
Yeah, we were at Metro. I got married on stage at Metro, and we had Kyle and Andrew working. And I feel bad because Andrew, Kyle and I have talked about it, and Andrew and I talked about it as well. It's like, really just wanted them on the dance floor dancing, but I also wanted them serving their delicious food and promoting their restaurant. So it all worked out in the end.
So when did you move here?
We came here like 2.5. At the start of the pandemic is when we opened. So right at the start of the shutdown is when we were supposed to open our doors. So we kind of stopped everything for a couple weeks, and then we opened with a skeleton crew and did to-go food only. Like literally our parents and wives were working the front counter, and then after that picked up and we could host people on the patio. We had like 6 tables on the patio. We eventually had to fire our parents, which was an interesting moment where you had to let them go, but we had to get real employees in, so we got them in, and then As we opened up, we slowly could open up while it's keeping with all the regulations and everything like that. So we had just a few tables inside, and then we opened the bar eventually and got our draft system up and running and all that fun stuff. So it's been a trip. That's for sure.
I mean, the patio's packed. When I walked in here tonight, Kyle, the first thing I thought was, well, this is a neighborhood joint. Like, it seems like
Definitely
people who live in this area, maybe down the street over on Kenmore, walking around the corner, having a beer, having a burger, having poutine.
Yeah, we definitely love our neighborhood people that come in, and we want to attract all of them. And then, we try and draw people in from Evanston and, further north, and then, all over the city. The goal is to be the destination place, right? You got to get to Beard and Belly before if you come into the city. That's the hope.
Also, this is an exciting time, I think, to drop anchor in this particular neighborhood. I feel like this neighborhood's about to turn again and become a thing.
Yeah, it was on its way up, and then the pandemic took. I mean, 3-4 restaurants right in the area dropped out during the pandemic, and it was really rough. But they're starting to come back in, and it's starting to grow up again. And we're really excited to be a kind of a focal point of the neighborhood. So we are really excited about that. We want to be here a long time too.
Yeah. So while you're getting some of this food out and going, the other thing is I'm trying to spearhead some live music here too at Beard and Belly, where we could do the limited ticket for dinner and a show with singer-songwriter vibes, right? Whether it's on the patio or inside, depending on the health concerns. But I'm talking with Josh Caterer about that, and I'm talking with Bob Nanna, and we're trying to figure it all out.
Oh my Lord, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. This is the poutine. Can you hold this so I can get the camera on this?
There's no good way to. You just got to go at it.
How did Americans miss poutine? How did we let Canada have this dish? This is so it's
I don't
potatoes,
know.
It's gravy, it's cheese. This is what America was made for right here.
And ours is a amped up version of it. Poutine is just cheese curds, gravy, and fries, right? So ours, we added the short ribs onto it. We added the cheese sauce just to make it more American.
It looks and smells ridiculous. All right, so Mark, we're not standing on ceremony here, are we?
No, let's just go.
No,
Let's
jump
just
in.
Go for it.
Short ribs, cheese sauce.
Everything's made in-house. Fries are hand-cut. We don't make anything. We try not to use anything pre-made. So the only thing we don't make is the bread that we use, and we don't make the ketchup because nobody likes house-made ketchup, is what we've discovered.
That's really good. The gravy has a sweetness to it, which goes really well with the cheese, and could be part of the cheese. Could be part of it.
Takes us 3 days to make the gravy, so we just cook down beef bones and a stock, and we just reduce that and keep reducing it until it's where we like it.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, it's one of our most popular items. And when we first opened, we didn't want to do fries because it was all carry out, and we were really worried that the fries were going to be steamed and they weren't going to be good. And we got so many emails and Facebook messages and Instagram messages about the poutine that we had to bring it back, and we brought it in, and it's number one fry selling.
And you have to share this. You have to order this and share this.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a smaller version too, so you guys got the big version, which is enough for a meal. The smaller one is a little more, but everything's big here. We don't do small things. It's not our style. I'm not a small guy. The Belly's not a small guy, so we make sure that we everybody leaves full and happy.
They're trusted, You just look at them and you trust them.
This is going to be one of those podcast episodes that I leave and have the windows down, the air conditioning cranked, because all I want to do is go to sleep.
That's right.
Radio up.
Best to take a nap. We do brunch too on Saturdays and Sundays. That's the perfect, eat something and then take a nap. We do all our meats are in house. So the pastrami's done in house. Our sausages are done in house. So the biscuits and gravy in the morning is the biscuits are done by
those are great.
Oh, they're amazing. Biscuits are done by the bakery next door, and then we do the sausages made in house by our Matt the butcher, and then we do the gravy in house and everything. So you get everything's fantastic.
Kyle, I'm pretty sure by the time we're done with this, we're going to be best friends.
I hope so.
Kyle,
you can't win people over with food. You can't. What do I got going for me?
Have y'all thought about putting in some cots where you could be come here and eat and then take a nap?
We've toyed around the idea of it. That would be
just go
going to the basement. It's nice and cool down there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big wave of mental health awearness and stuff, and I feel like naps are a big part of mental health awareness.
Self-care, bro.
It's self-care, yeah.
Eat a poutine, go take a nap. Maybe we'll rent one of the apartments one day, and we'll we'll be able to just rent the rooms out for
Yeah.
people that have eaten at Beard and Belly.
Hey, if nothing else, they could be like stabbing cabins.
I'm thinking about anyone who's
That wouldn't be
watching, the video feed here that is watching me struggle to feed myself, and it's because I am left-handed. I don't know.
Oh no!
No, but this is going fine. I'm doing okay. Also, I'm doing the heavy lifting with
You
the
are.
correct hand. So.
Dude, I'm the host. I'm heavy lifting here.
Okay, you're right.
I'm going to stop here.
Yeah. Move on.
So if you want to switch hands and keep going, just because I'm afraid I won't be able to eat the Reuben and the
we
burger.
Well, if you eat all of that, you won't.
We must move on.
That's a meal for sure. You got to try the Reuben and the burger.
Or do you want to put that on the dash?
Mm-hmm.
See how delicate a balance this whole thing is? This is definitely lighter than the poutine.
Yeah,
Pulling
this
the-
is heavy. This thing is.
It was like pulling a dwarf star out of that paper bag.
All right, let's see how this goes.
I mean, if
here.
it doesn't weigh like at least a pound or two, you
All right,
got
that's
something
going
on.
okay. But note when we move that the top is kind of resting.
Okay,
in
this
the
is
opposite.
definitely the Reuben because I see the
No, that's the
remoulade.
burger. That's the burger.
Okay.
The
So do you
remoulade
wanna-
is just for the chips.
Got it. Okay, so let's look at the burger. I'm so glad you cut it in half.
Yeah.
Look at that. American cheese?
No, we use butter case is our cheese. So
I
it's
don't
like
know what butter case is.
it's like a cross between cheddar and American. So it has more flavor than American, but it melts better than cheddar does.
That's it. American cheese is the melty cheese, and
Yep.
people tend to get snooty about American cheese. But when it comes to burgers, you want it to become one with the
Yeah,
the
we
meat.
wanted all the we wanted the best version of a burger that we could come up with. So it's very simple. It's a potato bun. It's our awesome sauce, which is basically a Dijonaise with sun-dried tomato puree in it, to give you all those flavors. Because we tried mixing all three of them, the ketchup, mayo, and mustard together, and it was kind of gross. So we changed that. Then we do our blend that we get, and our blend is sirloin, navel, and chuck. And so that's done for us by a company, and they blend it up, and it's just really nice. It adds the qualities that we were looking for in the burger. We tried several kinds of meat before we settled on that. And then the butter case is just a great melty cheese. It's got a lot of great flavor to it. Thinly sliced pickles, which is another thing we don't do in-house because Vienna beef kind of has that down. So we use Vienna pickles and
Never heard of them.
and that's it. Yeah.
And you got to do pickles on a burger like this. It's the contrast with the crunch and
Yep.
the coldness. It really is a nice.
We tried different levels of thicknesses and things like that, and we decided to do the thin sliced pickles on there just because it works the best, I think. And we do lots of other burgers. This is our the simplest of the burgers we do. We have a Boomers and Swiss, which is fantastic. We do the Belly's got a burger, Beard has a burger as well. We do a burger of the month every month. Next month is the America burger, which is going to be patty, cheddar cheese, deep fried pickles. Everything's covered in ranch. America.
American.
Yeah.
My concern with this burger is it eats really fast. Like,
Yep.
Like I can pound this burger.
We do a bigger version too for
That's right.
the people that need a little bit more beef in their
This
life.
is so good.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying the America burger with the ranch thing because so funny. Like when you travel overseas, the Cooler Ranch chips are called Cooler American, which I find to be hilarious.
Yeah, we make our ranch in house. It's a really nice. Everything's done in house. So
I love
it's
it.
Fantastic. That's a popular one. That's one of the few burgers we bring back we bring it back every July for the 4th of July, and it goes over really well. So we're gonna keep doing that.
That blend of meat is great.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Get
bacon
it-
on that burger too.
Get the
'cause-
homemade chips and get them in the sauce. The variety of dips that are available, if you will.
Yeah, we do. So ketchup ranch, spicy remoulade, garlic mayo, apple serrano barbecue sauce, and then an onion dip that has onions and jalapenos and things like that in it. It's a cream cheese based dip. That one's really good too.
I love how it finishes with a little bit of heat.
Yeah, the remoulade. That remoulade's got a little kick to it for sure. There's
Just enough to let you know it's there.
15 ingredients in that remoulade. So
Cal, you described one of the other sauces as magical, and then this one you referred to as awesome sauce.
Yeah, the awesome sauce is on the burger. That's what it is on the menu, just because it's awesome. And
sauce.
yeah, I mean, when you make them, when you take the time to make all the mayo and stuff like that, it has a special quality to it. Like I can taste when people don't do that, and you can tell when ranch isn't made fresh and all that fun stuff. So like, I think like I can't eat other ranch now. I have to bring ours home to. Because that's just what my whole family is adjusted to, is the ranch that we serve here. So
I'm gonna have one more chip, and then we're gonna bust out
Reuben.
This is.
I'm excited for you to have the Reuben. It's one of my favorite sandwiches.
Yeah.
And we were doing all this with really small production when we were at the Long Room, and so when we came here, we got to open up and spread our wings a little bit and everything. And I can't say enough about the opportunity to work there. That we were just a little window. In the bar serving food, but it was a great way to start and figure out how to do everything, and I love that place because they helped us be here.
Right.
So
That's right.
Here we go.
All right, closing shop here.
Okay, so we have the Reuben cut in half.
As per the
stray
request.
egg here. I don't want that to
Oh, there's another egg.
fall behind your seat or anything.
Yeah.
That would be very unpleasant. So that's the garlic
Okay.
mayo is the sauce in there with the chips on
I'm
that
gonna
one.
hand you the garlic mayo.
Okay.
You put that on the dash.
Yeah.
I need shelves in the car.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hold up a
Yep.
Reuben
Yes, I absolutely want to.
using your sinestral hand?
Yep. There we go.
Oh, there's the kraut. That good-looking pastrami, the marbled rye. All right, bueno. Now we dig in. Yeah, I agree. I do like the classic Reuben with the corned beef, but pastrami is just better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fancy corned beef as
Yeah,
far as I'm
exactly.
concerned. It's smoked. You put more time into it. I mean, if you're getting a Reuben at a diner, I would expect corned beef, right? But we didn't want to just do that, so we made our own. And
how long does it take to make the pastrami?
oh, I don't know exactly how long it's smoked. I want to say we smoke it for like 6 to 8 hours in the smoker, but then it sits on brine for a couple weeks, and it's got to get rubbed down, and that sits for a day like in the rub, and then we smoke it for the 6 to 8 hours. I want to say.
The pastrami's legit.
Yeah.
That is legit.
Thank you.
It's got that smoky taste. The kraut. What do you think, Mark?
Oh, I mean, I love it. I've had it. I'll have it again. I was, when I was riffing with Kyle on
Oh my God.
this situation, I'm so happy to hear that you would have selected this on your own, because
100%.
this is one of the best sandwiches on the menu. I also love the buffalo chicken sandwich y'all have, which is like 3 meals, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
a big,
huge.
We were getting in because of the pandemic. We couldn't get in the right size breast, so we were getting what they call randoms, and so they were anywhere from like 4 ounces to 12 ounces, and we were serving those, and it just ended up being one of our more popular sandwiches and everything. So we've tried to keep that the same.
I love this Reuben.
Yeah, that's my
It's so
favorite.
good.
I think that's my favorite sandwich on our menu. It's just fantastic.
And again, I'm getting that little bit of heat from the remoulade, which is something you don't normally get in a Reuben.
Yep.
And I like having that balanced in there.
Yeah, nothing overpowering though. We didn't
Right.
want to we don't want to blow anybody's. If we say it's going to be spicy, then it'll be spicy. But that's enough, I think, just to keep people interested. Plus, I mean, you should be drinking beers. I know we're in a car, but normally you're drinking beers or cocktails and stuff, and that goes really well with a nice cold draft. So and we have plenty of those. We do all craft stuff. So
Dude,
it's
if
all.
I had an IPA while eating this food, I wouldn't be able to move.
Well, then you get a nice pilsner. It's a little lighter, a little easier to drink. They,
Yeah. The more you hear about this menu, the more you're going to be like, what time do you open tomorrow? You're just standing out here.
Well, based on the gravy from the poutine, the idea of having biscuits and gravy for brunch is a really attractive one.
Oh yeah, we do a brunch brat too, which is this is one of my favorite things I think I've ever even heard of. It's a pork sausage with bacon, egg, and cheese stuffed in the sausage, and then we serve it with a sriracha mayo and a little bit of like crispy onions. So it's the whole brunch meal all in one handheld, convenient device. Again, all made in house by our butcher, Matt the butcher, is what he likes to be referred to.
Kyle, have you thought about having a Beard and Belly podcast where you just read the menu and describe the food?
I have now.
I think, honestly, I love business podcasts, like behind-the-scenes type stuff. I think you should.
I'll look into it. This is my first experience with a podcast. So
how's it going so far?
Great. I love it.
Also, it could be like a sleep app, you know. Some people would just love hearing Kyle talk about this food while they go to sleep, you know.
That Reuben, that was the way to finish that bag. That was
awesome. Well, we have pie too, so I just got to run in and grab it whenever you're ready for the pie. I can do that.
Maybe let's give our bodies a moment to pause.
Sure. Yeah, it's always good to breathe while you're eating.
Maybe as Mark and I get super nerdy about music and his music and Downwrite, maybe that's a time for you to run out and.
Sure. Yeah, I'm into it.
So you don't roll your eyes because you've heard all the stories a million times before.
I've heard them. I was a part of some of them, maybe in there at the shows. I was a frequent member of Spitalfield shows and things of that nature. So I went to as many as I could because they're awesome. So it's fun having one of your favorite bands be also one of your good friends that runs it. So that's winning on all ends in my book.
Thank you.
So
for sure it is. Well, let's start. We'll get to Spitalfield. Let's talk about Downwrite.
Yes.
For people who haven't heard of Downwrite,
they
understand the concept of Cameo.
Sure.
Downwrite preceded Cameo by a few years.
Yeah.
Explain what Downwrite is.
Yeah. Downwrite is a platform where artists, specifically in this case songwriters, make themselves available for creative commissions where you, as a fan, as a commissioner, as somebody who wants to support that artist, you can directly inspire them to create new original music. You can provide the backing story, you can select the production level, anything from, a single instrument, single vocal, home bedroom recording all the way up to a studio production, depending on what you need this music for. And the needs for the music can be anything from a big fan of that artist having a life moment or just because, and something with
it's
a
like
personal
a wedding
playlist.
Or
yeah.
A bar mitzvah.
Yeah, right. Having if you're a big fan of our co-founder Bob Nanna, so Bob is Braid and Hey Mercedes and all these things. If you love Braid and you love Bob and you want Bob to write a song that's literally going to be the first dance at your wedding, you can do that on Downwrite. And what's important about it is that it keeps artists creative and it keeps them earning and getting paid. And really in this landscape that we're in now, times have changed so much that artists used to make records and then go support them on tour, and now it's the exact opposite, right? So with everything being digital and streaming and record sales being down, maybe sans vinyl, which made a big comeback, Downwrite is a place where an artist can say, hey, between albums, between tours, or just to supplement what I'm already doing creatively, it's going to keep me inspired and keep me paid. So artists can use it how they want to. They're setting their own price points, their own turnaround times, their own queue, the different production levels they want to offer. So some artists love the idea of going into the studio to do something big for someone's big moment or for someone's commercial needs even, all the way down to saying,
for
hey,
a podcast, for other podcasters, hey, I need a theme song and I need something that's royalty free. I'm going to have Richard Patrick from Filter do it.
That's right. And the way, the way we see it, we're setting up artists for success because they're creating catalog that then they can do things with. They might write a song for somebody who just gives them a good idea or a good story, and they end up writing a song they love that say, hey, I'm going to go re-record this with my project and actually put it out. Or, or an artist could say, hey, this is really personal and just for you, and, it's going to stay that way. And I think that that's cool too. So artists can use the platform how they see fit. And you mentioned podcast hosts. I'm also thinking independent filmmakers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For soundtracks?
Bring back original songs on soundtracks, right?
What a great idea.
Yeah.
And Chicago has so many independent, the world has so many independent filmmakers. I'm just thinking in terms of our own backyard here. But
yeah. Right, so we're doing our best as we grow here because you mentioned we predated, Cameo. Yeah, Bob and I started the company. We launched it in 2013 with profiles for just the two of us, and we're not tech people, we're not marketing people, but we are musicians who saw a need. And we started by saying, hey, Bob and I, we were talking to each other saying, let's be creative. and let our fans know. You give us a prompt and pay us a little money, we'll make you a demo. And then that quickly evolved into let's make it a community, which then grew into, hey, it's our friends that we've toured with, it's people that we trust, and say, hey, there's going to be some bumps along the way because we don't know what we're doing, but we think there's something here. And then that grew into a scalable platform where there's other genres represented.
Yes.
There's different walks of life, here, different career arcs here. You've got platinum songwriters and you've got complete up-and-comers. But the one thing everybody has in common is they know the power of music. And, anyone who makes music is also probably a fan of music, and they know the music that meant a lot to them.
Yeah.
And to think, oh, Mark, who would you commission if you commission anybody to make you a song or to make a song for your family or for your best friend or whatever? And I'm like, I've got that list, right? So we're trying to make that list happen.
I think that's so. And before I talk about the business, I just kind of want to go deeper into what this is. I mean, anyone can ask someone like Art Alexakis, the voice, the songwriter, principal songwriter of Everclear, to record a song. In fact, there's a song on your website, on the Downwrite website, that Art did, which was a deeply personal song he recorded for someone.
Yeah.
It kind of stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, oh my! And that to me really underscored what this platform can do, because his voice is so recognizable.
Yeah,
and
right.
he's basically like you're inviting him into your world, and he's playing along. He's part of it. It's wild.
And it's been nothing short of amazing to see artists at different levels, kind of step up to say like, I'm up for this challenge, and I'm not, it's almost like they're opening themselves up for the most personal interaction they could probably possibly have with somebody, right?
It is.
So you think about the whole world of like the VIP experience, the people who want to pay extra to get in early and see the sound check or get a one-on-one convo or a photo, all those things. Like, to tell those folks, hey, by the way, you can commission something from me that will start as something for you. Like, I think that's incredible.
How cool would it be to have somebody make music for you, and then it ends up on an album, and you can, when it pops up on, I don't know, the radio or whatever, you're like, that song was written for me. Like,
Right.
and there's nothing cooler than that. It's like being a fan of music. Like, that's awesome.
Well, the Beard and Belly podcast. I mean, Beard and Belly could have a theme song. You don't even need a podcast. You could say, hey, Nathan Graham, I want you to do some cool acoustic guitar thing
Yeah.
that speaks to Beard and Belly, which,
Yeah.
by the way, would be awesome.
Yeah,
It
that
would
would be
be.
super
It'd be
awesome. I think we're coming up with something as we talk here.
But speaking of Nathan Graham, and you kind of mentioned this, all the artists who are part of Downwrite, are they all curated by you and Bob Nanna?
No, so it started that way because at first it was pretty much like an invite kind of thing because we were just trying to get more artists, on board and understanding how to use it, and we were figuring things out. Like, what do fans want? What do artists want? And there were a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. But eventually we shifted into it's an open source platform because we don't want to be the curators to tell people what's good or not or who should be or shouldn't be able to record anything. We're more so saying, hey, as long as you are who you say you are, and we, have some, legalities about that to make sure that, the ghost of John Lennon doesn't have an account charging people $500,000 for a 10-second, spoken word. But, we're at a spot now where it's like, hey, whoever you are, wherever you're at in your career, like, make an account. Like, there's no cost to be here, and you're setting your own rules for how you want to use it. So we've got terms of service in place. We spent, time, effort, and money with an entertainment lawyer to say, let's make sure artists here are able to really dictate what's going on. Like, they're always going to be co-owners of the material. They're always going to get paid on the front end to create it. Let's open the door for the back end for potential for royalties if a song is going to be used for something, or a re-record where an artist can take it elsewhere and do stuff with it. Like, we just want to be artist forward at all times, possibly to our own detriment in some ways because Bob and I are so, bleeding heart towards artists just because of the industry being as, rough of a ride as it can be.
Well, and speaking of money and the financials, Downwrite artists receive no less than 80% on front-end commissions and at least 75% on all back-end royalties and sync fees. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. I mean, from dollar one, and like the commissioners have a small play here too, because if something is going to get commercialized, they're not going to have ownership. We made that clear. We make sure commissioners understand that because we don't want someone to feel like they're being bought to do something.
Right.
I mean, of course, if there's a buyout clause, we could talk legally, but what we're thinking is, if you help inspire something that artist then wants to do something with, or if you are that independent filmmaker, why not have a little action on the back end if something's going to get used? Because then you've got skin in the game and you care even more. So if you're an independent filmmaker and you say, I want 10 original songs from these artists that I'm handpicking to be in my film, number one, huge differentiator from other films that you're competing against, because you have original music, right? Also,
God, you could do an entire movie soundtrack from Downwrite.
Right.
You could source your entire soundtrack from there.
Right, and we have a couple of filmmakers who are doing that, which is
That is crazy.
Something we want to grow more into. And I'd love to talk to you about some of the like film people you might know in the area. But like, yeah, like that to me is so important. And knowing that those commissioners then are like, oh wow, and, Kyle mentioned like, what if a song that I got for my significant other inspires a track that ends up being put on a record for one of my favorite artists or one of their solo projects or something. Like, cool, now you're a part of that too, which is neat.
As a side note, you know what this makes me think? NFTs are really stupid. This is special. This is something really special here. So I mentioned Irv Alexakis, Bob Nanna's on the platform, obviously. Mark Rose is on the platform.
Yeah.
Also, I had Omar Doom on my show a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Quentin Tarantino favorite. He's been in a couple Tarantino movies, most famously Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
He does this really dark synthwave stuff.
Yeah.
You can commission Omar Doom.
Yeah.
Adrian from The Burst in Bloom, former Car Con Carne guest. You can have him.
Yeah.
Create something. Nathan Graham, Christina Catone, The Fold, Justin Warfield from She Wants Revenge.
Right.
I mean, that would be a cool one to commission.
Actually, Justin Warfield I'm so glad you brought him up, because he is one of the artists for starters, he does work with us on the platform. So he's not just an artist on the site, he's someone behind the scenes who's helping us in so many ways. But Justin has a track that he did for a fan that was released commercially as a Downwrite original, and it just came out like a week and a half ago.
Oh, get out.
And and so it's on all streaming platforms, and we're getting behind it, right, to push it out for some playlisting and some PR and stuff. But really, the fan that got this is such a huge fan, and then Justin turned around to say, hey, by the way, I'm going to release this song.
I can't imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, and it's one of his first solo tracks as like, post She Wants Revenge, but also like, he's got his hip-hop part of his career too from earlier on. But this is one of his first like, indie rock tracks that's just under his name.
That's amazing. I do want to mention this podcast is brought to you by Transparent Solar. Go to sopalsolar.com to get your quote and start living free from the oppression of high electric bills. All right, on that note, I think it's pie time as we keep talking.
Pie time. Yeah,
pie time.
I'll go get some pie. It'll take
Synchronized
me a few.
watches,
Pie time.
it's pie time. I love pie.
Yeah.
More so than cake?
I can't believe there's people out there who prefer cake over pie.
No. Pie is the clear winner.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this. I mean, you and Bob Nanna are not tech people. You're not platform builders. You're not database. You're not SQL superstars. So how did you scale this out? I mean, were there a lot of bumps along the way? Or?
Yeah, well, to kick things off, we had the tripod going with the two of us plus Dan Reed. And Dan Reed was someone that Bob, has known for a long time, and also he was a tech person at Threadless. And, Bob was at Threadless for many, many years, and so was Dan Reed. And so Dan Reed helped us build V1, the very first version of Downwrite. And once we started to get some traction and got some, some notable name-worthy artists that were like, yeah, I'll do this, and we started to see the commissions coming in and the artists actually getting paid to create music, we were then able to say, all right, we need to raise some cash here to actually do a bigger build. So friends and family was the first thing.
Of course.
It was like, get this stuff going. And
that's the number one seed round right there.
Yeah, and we did that. And we did a couple iterations of the site where we were just making tweaks on the fly and a lot of point and shoot tech stuff, like with independent coding folks or people we knew, where we're like, hey, how much to do this, and this, because that's all we can do right now. And then that eventually got us to a spot where we built a new team that launched the most recent version of the site, which is just over a year old. And the biggest difference is that there is a true, great tech team that built this and maintains it and is pushing forward with ideas, because we were limited by what we could actually pull off on the site, and we didn't want to just do a plug and play like hack like a WordPress or Shopify thing. We were like, no, we need to have a site that is like ours, that represents where we're going
Well,
with
for
this.
what this product is, I mean, yes, the delivery mechanism, the communication between commissioner and artist, I mean, that all needs to be seamless and easy and proprietary.
Yeah, when you commission an artist and they accept it, and that's another important note, artists can accept or decline. So, artists are not beholden to your request.
Right.
But if they read it and it makes sense to them and they're excited about it and they want to get going on it, once they accept the request, a project portal opens on Downwrite where the artist and commissioner can communicate in like a chat functionality type thing, with updates on stuff, or an artist can say, hey, I loved your story, tell me more about that part of the story, because that's what I want to dig into. Or, if
I knew I wanted to talk to you about this. I think this is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we think it's cool too. We've been at it for so long now that we're like watching the rest of, the world catch up with like other types of, obviously Cameo's big and way bigger than we are, but to see that access to artists and access, in different ways, things like Patreon, things like, we've seen Kickstarter, we've seen all these things. We kind of want to be the most song-driven version of those things, the artist-driven version of those things, because Patreon's a great tool for a lot of artists, and I'm very thankful that it exists for so many artists who need it, especially throughout the pandemic. But there's nothing about Patreon that is specifically about the craft that the artist, does. It's more like they end up kind of having to do a lot of things. Suddenly it's kind of like, oh, now they have to curate their own special episodes of stuff, and they have to take you behind the scenes, and they have to do special concerts and special this, and all that's cool. But we're here to say, no, work with an artist to help them create, why you love them to begin with, which is the music they make.
From a cynical perspective, when I first heard about Downwrite, my first thought was, isn't writing a song hard? Like, how is it possible for all these artists to turn songs around on a dime? It seems like, from artists I've talked to through the years, it takes a lot longer to put something together, to get a riff going, to find that sequence of chords and notes. What am I missing?
Yeah, well, I'd say that you're not wrong. So, for starters, artists... they're all different, right? Which is why we let them set their own turnaround times. And once they kind of get their feet wet and do a commission or two, they might understand their own process a little differently, because it's very different to like paint with someone else's paints versus what you're doing for your own project already, right? So sometimes perfection is the enemy of good, because
I agree with that.
Because if you take an artist and say, hey, you're going in this room, you're dedicating this time, you've got your instruments, you've got a story, you might come up with something incredible that takes you a few hours that's really special, whereas that same project could have taken weeks and years to get an artist to say, I'm going to put this out now, right? So I do believe that, the ease of writing songs, the people that have been writing songs forever, it really depends how tight to their vest they hold certain things about their process, because a lot of artists are finding, at least through Downwrite that I've talked to them about it, that once they take on a request, they might feel a little overwhelmed at first, and then as they like finish it and hit the delivery button, they're like, I can't wait for them to hear it.
That's cool.
And like, I kind of want to play that song next time I'm on stage, which is cool.
Right, and you said it. I mean, an artist can accept or reject an
right.
idea. So, I mean, as they're going through that process of acceptance and they're reading the details and the minutia about why this request is being made, that can light a spark. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Sometimes as a songwriter, you don't have that spark when you sit down. But if you if that torch is already lit, I'm using lots of fire metaphors, it certainly must help.
It does help, and I'd say that, thinking about, my own experiences, it's like, think about like the pile that I have. I think about the pile of like unfinished ideas that I have, and sometimes these requests come in and I'm like, that idea that I've had that I've been sitting on for so long, I'm going to make into this song. And then that is so cool, because then I'm kind of like multitasking, being like, I'm bringing something in my brain that maybe never would have gotten out there to life through somebody else's story, and now I'm finishing this song. And again, like I mentioned earlier, an artist can take pieces of this stuff and apply it to other things they're doing. So you might write a great hook in a very personal song and say, hey, that personal stuff's for you, but I love this hook, and I'm going to put this in my next song.
That makes perfect sense. All right, so we have pie.
You do have pie.
Woo. All right, so tell us what we're going to eat here, Kyle. I got to be honest, I love the Reuben, I love the burger, I love the poutine, love the eggs. I'm really excited about the pie.
Oh, you should be excited about the pies. So we teamed up with Honey Pie. They're a bakery out of Milwaukee. The owner is Val Lux, and she makes the best pie in the country, maybe the world. It's fantastic. I love it. I have very little to do with it, which is fantastic also. So it is done. So we have 2 cream pies for you today. We do cream pies, we do fruit pies, we do savory pies, we do brownies and cookies and everything. And everything is just made from scratch, and we do it where we can, and it's fantastic. So I have a coconut cream pie for you, and then a black bottom banana, which is chocolate on the bottom, banana cream on top, and then nice amount of fresh whipped cream and all that fun stuff. So
I love cream pie. I mean, coconut and banana. Those are.
That's it. They're some of our more popular flavors for sure, and we rotate all our pies, so it changes every week. You can special order pies on our website. So if we have a big event coming up, we're getting a bunch for the 4th of July, so we're doing a bunch of apple pies and chocolate cream pies and things like that. So you just can go on to honeypiechicago.com and order them there, or you can just walk into our shop and pick them up too. So
I love this little health food corner of Edgewater. This is great.
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely the healthy. There's a smoothie place down the road.
There you go. There you go. No, I have to mention the pistachio pie though, because it is so good.
That's good too.
The pistachio cream pie is fantastic, and it is there tons of pistachios go into it, like real pistachios, so it's not neon green.
Yeah.
When you get it, it's the color that it should be. And yeah, it's fantastic. Like I said, everything is done in-house, and our bakers are fantastic that rock it all out.
Okay,
so I'll hand that over. I got some fresh forks for you too.
Oh, good.
Oh, fresh forks.
Unless you want poutine pie, which I don't think is.
I would do it, but
it already smells so good.
Right,
This is insane, Kyle. We can't eat all this.
Well, you have to take some home.
Okay, I'm gonna grab the camera real quick, Mark.
Yep. All right, let's do the great reveal.
I mean, you can smell how. Oh my lord.
Yeah, each pie I think weighs close to like 7 pounds or something like that. So like we don't skimp on anything ever.
Thank you, sir.
Just not our way.
All right, so you had mentioned coconut as your jam, so why don't you start with the coconut?
Coconut is my jam.
Yeah, and I'll just sit back.
You got to get some of the graham crust on the bottom too. So
Yeah, I got mostly cream on that. Here we go.
yeah, we do a healthy amount of whipped cream.
You got it.
There you go. That's a great bite.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. That's real coconut.
Yeah, definitely. We don't use any fake stuff.
And you can tell the difference because fake coconut is just like super sweet.
It tastes like suntan lotion.
Yes.
Like, it's like I don't want to eat that even at the beach.
That's really good. Mm.
Yeah, we do. We do graham cracker crust. We do a couple of our pies have an Oreo crust base as well, and then we do a tiger crust too, which is a blend of Oreos and graham. They're all fantastic. I can't even describe how many. And there's so many different flavors of pies. It's hard to even think about them sometimes but they're my favorite. I bring them home. I bring them home to my family. My kids love them. They request pie and stuff, and get disappointed if I don't bring it home. So, I eat our food, and I eat the pie. I eat it every week. I eat it every day, which is probably.
Kyle, how crazy does it get around Thanksgiving with the pie orders that y'all are doing?
It gets nuts. We keep trying to push, and again, we've only been open kind of during the pandemic, so we haven't even really truly seen what we'll be capable of. But I think last year we did somewhere in the 600 to 800 range of pies on Thanksgiving, and we'd love to break 1,000. Which would just be fantastic. The bakers call it the pieocalypse, because it was just an influx of pies, and obviously we have pumpkin and apple and do all those, and we just ship. We spend all day just sending pies out before Thanksgiving, and then we're closed on Thanksgiving generally, but we still get some pies out in the morning and stuff like that too. So Thanksgiving is our biggest pie holiday.
Sure.
Followed by Pie Day, oddly enough,
March
and
14th,
then
sure.
which you don't think it's going to be, but people really want to eat a piece of pie on Pie Day, and then Mother's Day is always a big one too for us. So we love all those holidays. We love all holidays. 4th of July is a great one. Get your pies. Get them in now.
You know what I'd want to do with either of these pies? I'd want to get one to go. These would be great with coffee after dinner.
Oh, 100%. We have drip coffee. We also have a cold brew on draft.
Nice.
Nitro. That's called Kyoto Black. He's a local guy right down the street. Does fantastic Kyoto style cold brew coffee, and that's some of the best coffee I've ever had in my entire life.
I would imagine that'd be spectacular with these pies.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I mean, so is a glass of whiskey. It depends on what you're looking for. So
Now, I won't be offended if you say no, but are you going to try the banana?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think you really should.
yeah, you got to get all the way down too,
Have some
because
coconut.
it's got that
I'm
chocolate on the bottom too.
Fresh ingredients make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you can just tell when something is fresh.
we don't use any stabilizers in our whipped cream either, so it's all fresh, and they whip it up every day, and yeah, when it's hot like this outside, it'll melt if you take too long to eat it and stuff, which I think is a good
Absolutely.
thing, because it's not doesn't mean there's anything fake in there. So, and we also use, especially with the pies, we use a lot of local stuff, and so like our cherry pies are very frequently Door County cherries coming in, and then we'll get peaches in, and we'll get those those come up from Georgia sometimes, which isn't necessarily local, but they have the best peaches. So and then all the like local creameries and things like that, and all that fun stuff. So
and just like with the coconut, the banana's not crazy sweet.
mm-hmm.
It's not artificial. It's appropriate. I know it's not a sexy way to describe it, but that is an appropriate flavor for that pie. That is great.
That's what we go for. And like the pistachio pie that Mark mentioned earlier is a very polarizing pie for people, because some people expect it to be incredibly sweet, and then it like a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's or something, but then it's not. And like they're like, what's wrong? And they're like, that's what pistachios taste like. Like they're a nut, so they're not like sweet like what people make them do, and they're not neon green either. Like it's not a. It's just not that. So we definitely do that, and some of the pies get sweeter and things like that, but I think they're all perfectly balanced, and they're all like, they're made and they're tested, and Val comes down and checks them, make sure that the bakers are staying on and doing what they need to be doing. So like and corrects things when. And she's fantastic to watch do her thing. Like she can correct a pie dough from 3 blocks away and tell you that there's too much water in it or whatever. It's fantastic to watch.
So again, we're outside Beard and Belly. It's not like people are joining us in progress. It's not like a radio show. Like if you're this far into it, you've been with it since the beginning. But Beard and Belly, 6157 North Broadway. Mark, do you remember when Spitalfield announced the breakup on MySpace?
Yeah, I do. In a bulletin.
Seems like forever ago.
And you said MySpace.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it does seem like forever ago. That's correct.
Yeah, conventional wisdom says you left while on top. I guess that's the showbiz rule, right?
Well, on top is a relative, way to look at it, I suppose. But yeah,
musically speaking.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No, we felt like we were actually really hitting stride when we called it. So I mean, yeah, I like that observation. Thank you.
I mean, if you're going to go out when people are like, "Holy shit, they're at the peak of their form."
Yeah.
Better to
it
burn up and
didn't.
fade
It didn't
away.
feel good though. I'll tell you that much. It did not feel good to walk away from it. But those were the at that time, that was the decision that we felt like we had to make, and we made it. So yeah, it was rough.
And all the albums are on vinyl now?
The 3 Victory albums are on vinyl. The first full length that was on the local label Sinister and Walking Cold, that's not on vinyl. And then the EP that came between those things is also not. But the 3 full lengths that most people would be familiar with are, yes, they're available. The Remember Right Now has been out of print for a while, but it's out there. You can find it.
So between Walt Disney World and Victory Records, which is the friendliest place on earth?
What was the question?
Remember Right Now came out 19 years ago.
Oh my God.
Which, again, seems crazy. What do you remember about that time?
Yeah. I remember that we were essentially deciding whether or not we were prepared to like hit pause on everything else in our lives to get into a 15-passenger van and peace out for a while. And it was exciting is what it was, because we were a band that, we had been a band for a number of years. We started when JD, the drummer, and I, we were sophomores in high school, and we knew we wanted to make music, but even when we were graduating high school and going into college, he was going to UIC, I was going to Columbia, I was going for music composition. It was like what can we do to get out of here and to like actually make music a thing? So when there became some interest,
So you were driven. Back then.
Yeah, and we were just, I mean, over the moon excited that there were labels showing interest in us. And of course, you mentioned Victory, but they're in our backyard. But that didn't seem like an obvious choice to us because we didn't think that any label of that size or whatever would take interest in us. So we were very excited. And what I remember most about it was just that we were practicing all the time. We were booking our own shows as best we could for over school breaks or whatever. We were booking our own little mini Midwest tours. We were trading shows with other bands. We were building a fan base to a point where there were people coming to our shows that weren't our friends, and that was a big deal.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, Better Than Knowing Where You Are. I think Curtain Call's my favorite song on that album, and I think it's kind of a dark horse choice on that one.
Yeah, right. And also, not knowing it was going to be the final record kind of seems fitting, right?
Uh-huh. How Do You Love Somebody More? I Feel Useless, I Feel Tired.
Yeah.
I Feel Aged and Uninspired. I already referenced the song earlier. Your solo career, the post-Spitalfield years, is this a more vulnerable, transparent Mark Rose?
To a certain extent. I think the first thing I did was move dramatically away from what I had been doing in the band because, not away from the songwriting part of it, but away from the rock, indie, emo, punk stuff because, Spitalfield was literally a band for, just short of a decade. Mm-hmm. So rather than just starting another band and picking up where we left off, I was like, I'm just going to figure it out and do my own thing for a little bit. And I kind of started writing songs, which then accidentally kind of turned into my first EP. And it was very different. And I think that, people who grew up with the band, went two different ways on it because some people just really wanted more of what the band was doing. And other people were also growing up with me and wanted something else that was a little different. So I think it's more vulnerable because there's less input from other people. So it's I'm pouring more of myself in that way. But, I don't know. I think that I put out enough stuff solo that I eventually kind of found the middle ground maybe that I had wanted the whole time, which was not just trying to be a singer-songwriter, but also, incorporating full band type things to what I'm doing. And, am I itching to write a rock record? Yeah, probably, because I haven't released anything like that in a long time.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I've been waiting.
Well, I'm just thinking about those fans who maybe were reluctant to let you go in a different direction.
Yeah.
I think It's Cold Out There was probably a call to arms, things aren't the same anymore.
Right.
You had that 70s sexy vibe with
Yeah.
horns.
Yeah.
A little bit of an about face.
Yeah, and you know what? Even now, I have always found that my music taste is pretty eclectic, and
I think everyone's is, but we
Yeah.
don't allow people to show that off.
that's right. And I just kind of ran with it, being I can have a rhythm section that is hired guns who are going to do kind of what I am envisioning, and it's not really the collaboration part of it is jamming with them, but it's not the same as writing with a band. And
Sure.
and I think there's pros and cons that come with that. I absolutely miss the collaborative nature of being in a band and having other people to be accountable to, or vice versa. But I also kind of loved for a while just being well, I'm bringing in a horn section, I'm bringing in this, I'm bringing in that, and those kind of things, those experiences I wouldn't trade for anything because, I mentioned when I was at Columbia, I was there for music composition. I still love the idea of writing music, not just for myself, but for other people and for, film scores and for, all sorts of things. So it was definitely fun for me to do that. But reality sets in too, because it's me against the world. And if I don't put myself out there, then no one's knocking on my door to drag me out, right?
So in theory, if someone wants to speed up the process of you recording a rock song, they should go to Downwrite, Write,
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, Mark Rose, I'm having a quinceanera, and I want a rock song for it."
Yeah. I just did on Downwrite a song that sounds the most like anything I've done since Spitalfield that sounded like Spitalfield, and it was because the person who made that request not only went with the studio level production, but they also quite literally spelled out, being I'm looking for that track 11 to remember right now, which doesn't exist, right? So I got myself in that mindset when I was writing it and tracking it, and it felt good. It was fun.
I love as you tell these stories. I mean, I know this is what you live and this is your business, but I get excited. Like I understand this from an artist and a business perspective, but I really get this from a fan perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a real opportunity. Just you mentioned the wedding idea and the soundtracks. There's so many cool things that you can do with all these cool artists. And what's fun too, yes, we know about Richard Patrick of Filter. We know about you. We know about Bob Nanna. But just kind of bouncing around the site and discovering new artists too. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. The discovery part is nice because, you know, we wanted the profiles to be different than just the copy-paste bios that are on other social media pages. We wanted it to have a little bit of a first-person type thing going on. And, you know, artists can have examples of their work, but they can also talk about their process if they choose to. And they can, you know, put up different photos that maybe aren't the photos that are all over their normal social media. And they can put themselves out there to say, hey, do you want me and a guitar? Or do you want me to, like, pull out all the stops and go in the studio and bring my band? You know, and that's cool, too.
I love it. All right, so Downwrite, the website is?
Downwrite.com, and that's Write, W-R-I-T-E.
And I can't thank Kyle enough, Beard and Belly. Your hospitality has been so kind and generous, sharing.
Thanks for having me on the podcast. This has been fantastic.
I'm full. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the holiday weekend. I am.
They make good leftovers too. That you know. So
I am good. I'm done eating. Are you good, Mark?
Oh, I'm more than good. And like I said, I should have advised you to bring a cooler because I want you to take this stuff and just do what you're gonna do.
Oh yeah. Well, I have children too, so
yeah.
My kids love Beard and Belly. The mac and cheese we do, they request it all the time, and mac and cheese with bacon and peas and
peas.
Oh yeah. They love that's how they eat their vegetables that way too. So they eat burgers too from here, and anything they love Beard and Belly, which is great.
I'm saying this respectfully. This is hangover food.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, we're not drinkers, so you know we make our food for the things that we like doing, which is, eating and drinking and having a good time. And, and then that results in, you need to eat something in the morning. So we're here for you, for brunch and everything else like that, too. So definitely hang out. That's a compliment,
Oh, yeah.
I take it as a compliment.
And I got to figure out what stuff from the menu my 10-month-old son can eat. And at this point, it's pretty much anything that you cut up real small. But, we'll see. We'll see what
French
we can
fries.
do.
They always
maybe the potato bun that the burger comes on, like tear that up into little pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We have all three of us have kids too, the owners that are here the most, and so we're well versed in the stuffing noodles into people's faces and stuff like that to get them to eat. So,
all right, guys, this was super fun. This is people ask me all the time who want to get into podcasting, how long should a podcast be? And I always say, well, it should be as long as it's interesting. And as a result, I think without even trying, most of my podcast episodes clock in at like 25 or 30 minutes.
Yeah,
we're over an hour.
Wow.
Like there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And I don't usually I kind of edit it in my head, and I kind of know when we hit the point where okay, it's time to move on. This was one of the easiest conversations I've had in a while. So thank you both for being part of this.
It was a ton of fun. Thank you.
It was.
Yeah, thanks for having me and for supporting Beard and Belly and all your contributions to the Chicagoland music scene over the years. Like I was excited to be on the show first and foremost, but then also just on a personal note, like you've been supportive of me and my peers. So there's a lot of good chemistry, I think. And you mentioned Kyle and I grew up together, and it's like, well, we grew up with your voice too.
That's nice.
So that's very true.
Yeah,
that's crazy, and that's nice. All right, thank you for watching. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for listening. Support these guys. Support Downwrite. Support Beard and Belly. Really easy to do. Great product, great food.